Hello, this is Umabel bringing you Dyson Sphere program. Today it looks like I'm going to attempt a planet scale build. I'm definitely going to use up most of the planet to try to do this. I'm going to try to make 24, output 24 belts of yellow cubes just from this planet. All the raws should be provided, except for kimberlite, but that's pretty fast and easy to get. 24 belts of yellow cubes is going to take 24 belts of diamond, which I actually decided to have it done on a single array here, so I don't have to worry about it over at the yellow cube places. What I have here so far is plain smelters, 45 of them, that will be inputting 4 belts via a piled belt of kimberlite. Goes through them all, and it's a perfect ratio there. And then it's going to output 8 belts of diamond, and of course I just have to multiply that by 3, copy paste, and that will be all the diamond that is going to be needed for the current setup. Diamond's a very interesting, wonky recipe because the rare recipe with the kimberlite is actually, instead of a 2-second cycle, it's actually a 1.5-second cycle. So it's very, basically what that means is boils down to is that we're going to have a very uneven number of output belts in reality that we're trying to fit into 8 actual belts. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at this here, we have 45 divided by 4 equals 11.25. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Now, to put that into perspective, we have the inputs here, the kimberlite, 4 belts, and it's going into factories, or in this case, 90. It doesn't matter. It could be 90, 40, 100, 300, as long as the number of factories is an integer number. Then you can fit pretty much, it's 4 belts, then you can pretty much run that through the whole entire array with no issues there. However, if we want to output 8 belts through 45 factories, that's a different story. Okay, so this next part is important for beginners. What I have for my output then is going to be 8 belts of 8 belt throughput of diamond. So the goal here is, at least for a perfect ratio standpoint, have 8 full belts coming out of the array. So what I would do normally is figure out how many smelters it takes, how many of these smelters I need to make the 8 full belts, right? So I divide 45 smelters by 8, means 5.625 smelters per belt. Unfortunately, this is a non-integer number, so you have to round. There are 2 cases here. I can round up, making 6 smelters per belt, but clearly that what I'll end up with is overfilled belts with wasted smelters being, product stacked. And if I round down, 5 smelters to a belt, then obviously it'll be underfilling them. But clearly, what I want to try is I'm going to go with the underfilled belt, and then And we're going to take those underfilled belts and then combine them into a eight belt full. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 45 smelters and I'm going to divide it by 5 smelters to make a underfilled belt. So that's telling me I'm going to have 9 underfilled belts. Then I combine the 9 underfilled belts into 8 filled belts. And mission accomplished, I guess. So let's move these intended 8 full belts aside. Now let's see what this is going to look like. I'm probably going to... Should I whiten this up a bit? Well, let's see. So that's 1, 2, 3, and that. So each of these smelters will, offload their underfilled belt, and then the next 5 will unload its own underfilled belt. Let's see if I can count this a little bit better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It's five smelters there. Another 5 smelters there, and another 5 smelters there. Okay, let me try to put down the other rows. Yeah, I did the second one. Let me show. I'm doing the last one. Okay, I don't want to move that. What I want to do is move this one. Use, so that actually saves it to its so-called clipboard. Delete that. And move it 1 grid down. And then the 3 output belts will go right there. Okay, so far so good. So in a manner of speaking, these will be allowed to exit, and that'll end up with 9 belts at the end. For clarity, I marked the 9 output belts, 9 diamonds, underfilled of course, and so as I'm still figuring out how they're going to output correctly. In the meantime, I guess I'll just add in the input sorter for all the smelters. This is very easy, thankfully. You still production speed up mode? Still using the rare version? Also, it helps to look at how the power is going to work. It looks good. Should be easily powered too. So I can either have them come out there, but that's not an option down here. It could be, but maybe there's a more compact way, since I tend to prefer it that way. Let's try a slope up for each of these belts that needs to get off the ground. That one can stay. Okay, that's looking interesting. And for outputs, the sorter can just go right there. Now I just noticed something. If the output belt goes on the top of the sorter, it has to go 2 grid spaces. And that's fine. But if it's going below, sorter only needs to go one grid space. And in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be easier for it to do, for a sorter to go one grid space as opposed to 2 or even 3. So I'm going to do that. Also, we'll throw in the output belt also. Seems straightforward. Collide with object. What's being collided? Interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, okay. I see what I did wrong. When I copied that, the third belt over, it was shifted. Oh, good. It's still there. Now I should be able to copy it just fine. Okay, sweet. For the first overlap, this one can clearly go over here. Obviously something has to be done over there, but that's gonna worry about that in the next step. Okay, so that can either slope up again, which is probably going to be the case, but just to be clear, this one's going to go second level. That one's going to go second level too. Oof. Might have an issue, but I believe the 3-tile bridge should go under it. No, just for clarity's, consistency's sake, I'll put it out that way too, even though there's nothing under it. So it should be allowed to come out. The second level goes right over the first level, including the bridge, which is nice. And for the third level, I should be able to slope that up also. Now, as you're seeing these bridges, you're probably wondering, how did I do that? Well, there are quite a few videos by people even more better at teaching this than I am, but I'll take the time and break down 2 quick lessons. The first lesson is how to make a simple 3-tile bridge. Now, there are lots of ways to make a 3-tile bridge, but this is the way that I'll show how. Make a just make a belt bridge like that. That's step 1. Step 2, start 2 spaces away from it, but make it go up 1 level. Leave that alone. Then try to connect the top belt with the bottom belt. It'll try to connect it, fail, but in the end it will actually bend the belt upwards a bit. I'll do this twice. 1, 2. Step 3, save your belt. Ta-da! You got your blueprinted 3-tile belt. The other one is what I call a slope up. Now, normally you need quite a couple of spaces to take a belt from a level 1 to level 2, and that's because of the way the normally slopes up. However, as soon as I figure out how, we can actually slope it up at a much steeper angle. Therefore, it can slope up to level 2 at a much, taking less tiles to do so. And this is what the slope up piece looks like. It's very, very steep, and it usually connects whatever is touching it on either end of the blueprint. Yeah, here you can normally connect belts coming out of it. Unfortunately, you cannot connect belts into it due to the horizontal. Must be horizontal check has failed. But you can normally connect them with via blueprint mode anyway. Okay, cool. Anyways, how do I make that? If I can try to remember. It's been quite a while when I made that. Okay, I think I came up with a quick way. First, step 1, make a simple 1 to 2, level 1, level 2. Step 2, trim it down to 2 tiles. Step 3, level 2, flat. Step 4, bend the end of that belt. Good angles, good idea. 1, 2, and you got your slope up. Let me check if it works well or not. Should. Okay, that's level 2. Should be able to pull a belt right under it. Okay. Okay, so that's the slope up. Sweet. Anyways, what I wanted to do was to do this for a level 2 to level 3 version, and I think my current first version, as soon as I find it, slope up version, level 2 slope up, level 2 slope. Okay, there it is like that, which looks pretty horrible. So I'm going to try to make that look a bit better. So if I do the same kind of procedure, so it's going to be a level 2 to level 3. Click. So that's a level 2 to level 3. Trim off everything except for the 2. Level 3. And belt bend. The end. 1, 2. Okay, now I have my level 2 slope up. Let's give that a spin right now. Ooh, me likey. But I think the version's a little bit different from the other one, so I think I'm gonna have to redo the first version too, because I probably made that different a long time ago the first time. A lot has happened, but basically I remade all of those slope up blueprint pieces that I made, updated again, moved pretty much all the trash belt blueprint pieces away, and then I have all the slope ups and slope downs conveniently made over here, so I can do this for level 3 and all that stuff. Oh, pro tip: all the blueprint books are listed in alphabetical order, so if to make more sense, like if you want a blueprint book that's more conveniently on the front, you can just put a number in there and it'll throw it to the front. But as far as the sloping goes, I noticed that it's a little bit wonky towards the end when it starts to go out there. Might be an issue later on, but for the least part, at least it's kind of consistent. Moving on. Now I just need to get all these belts now and combine into 4 in some manner that I find to like. Okay, plans changed a little bit. So remember I said I wanted 8 belts out? Let's try to have that piled also. So piles of 2. So it's just going to be 4 belts of 2 pile. If that works out, then all this stuff that I've been making can go straight to one ILS. That's actually what I intended anyway. I find it very funny that a 2 pile, like 2 pilers on top of each other don't match with a splitter. So what that means is you have to disgustingly lower a belt to have the 2 pile belts combine at the end. This is what 2 pilers into a splitter looks like. Clearly it's a little off, and at least the second level. So if I want to take the second level of the piler to the second level of the splitter, I get a sloping problem. Sounds familiar? I think I am just a little bit annoyed, but I mean, it's like, what can you do? So now I'm going to make a 3 level sloping thingamajig. And there's our level 3 slope down. Should go from level 3 to level 2 in just 2 tiles. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Let's find out. Okay, you connect fine. Just giving me a issue with the belt? Sure. Okay, so I know that can't be done. Or can it? Okay. I give up, probably. Doing math is killing me. So what the math comes down to is that all 15 of these factories is giving out 2 2/3 of a belt. Each of them. 2 2/3 of a belt, 2 2/3 of a belt, 2 2/3 of a belt. So I have it going through these 3 splitters over here, starting with the first one. So, and I have it send 2/3 of a belt. This one's going to give 2/3 of a belt, and this one's going to give 2/3 of a belt, all the way sent to this splitter. 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3 is 6/3, or 2 belts. So that's going to be the plan. The plan is get 3 belts to stick through here, 3 belts to stick through there, 3 belts to stick through there, and somehow get the leftover belts all the way sent to the 4th belt. I mean the 4th splitter here. Well, I already know this is not going to work. One, it's already... So just passing it over is not going to work. 2/3... If I get a 2/3 belt, I'm going to get a 4/3 belt coming out of there. That's a full belt. Wasted. This should work. This belt, 2/3, sent to the final splitter. Then there's our second set. Our second 2/3 going into the 4th splitter also. And third set of 2/3 belt going into the final splitter. So once the pressure is on, everything should come out 8 belts, and the pilers will, deliver them over into the last splitter. All right, all that's left then is to test this out. Sadly, some assembly is required because apparently when I tried to blueprint, the whole thing, it's giving some splitter belt collision that obviously is not right. But yeah, what can you do? 9B2 4 BB. I'll just leave it at that. This is why I hate splitters. This is why I hate pilers. Yeah. When you have a blueprint with splitters or pilers, just double check each step of the way. Make sure that a copy's fine. For example, here is one step that I'm an innocent looking belt connection into a splitter. Checks out fine. Okay, just checking if the belt connection will work. Right. Forgot about that. You didn't have to connect any belts there. Okay. Okay. So another thing I hate about splitters is that only one splitter, even though these splitters are stacked, only the top splitter will interact with 4 ports of its own, and the bottom splitter only interacts with 4 ports of its own. So what that means is I can't just send a 2/3 belt into a stack of two splitters. So I think this will work. 2/3 will come through here, like so. The other 2/3 will come through here. Obviously, it'll spit out a full belt, and hopefully a single 1/3 of a belt will come out through here. It'll wind all the way down here, and then I'll go over into this bottom splitter that the other 2/3 belt is going into as well. This is a lot of work for just so I can end up with one ILS or PLS, just one PLS. Is it worth it? I don't know. It depends on how well this is going to work out. So test to see I don't get bugged out. Okay, so far so good. And then finally, I'm going to test if it connects to the belt. It does not, because collision says so. Alright, so I gotta lengthen this up by about 1 tile. Okay. Looking good. I will put this aside. And I will wire up some logistics. Okay, so I think I fixed everything now. Everything's powered. A slight belt error here or there. Now everything is going to be sprayed. And now all that's left is to try this out one more time. So the goal is 3,600 each. 3,600 belts coming off of each of these 4. And these should be close to, let's see here, 1,800 times 2. No, 1,800 times 0.88888888. That's 2/3. Or is it Well, it's close to it. 1600. Okay, so the top one's first. Get outputting 1600, 1600, 1600. And this is what I seem to be ending up with. Um, Everything is powered. Everything is, all the inputs are sprayed. The splitters, or at least, I mean, they're passing something, and so are the pilers. These are supposed to each read 3600. That's clearly not happening. I wonder. So, and many of these factories are giving product stacking warnings. So that probably means that one of these setups is actually, not working. Instead, just plugging everything up. I think I'm gonna have to just. It was fun trying to, get this to work, but it looks like I'm just gonna have to resort to using 3 PLSs. Anyways, kind of as a failure, but learning failure regardless. All right, see you next time.